everyone, it's Miss Rose from the Rose Garden, and I just wanted to let you guys know of the GBN All Down Fest happening on the 31st of January at Pearls in St. Andrews. I was there last year and it was a great experience. There was different kinds of all down. There was wild meat, there was chicken, there was salted meat, and all other kind of all down. And the cooks was very good. So there's also wine tasting and other things happening at the event. So come out and support the GBN All Down Fest on January 31st at Pearls in St. Andrews. It starts at 10 a.m. in the morning and goes on until, and I could let you guys know it's a wonderful, wonderful experience.
GBN's Oil Long Fest is proudly sponsored by Glen Spring Water, Grenville Credit Union, the Marketing and National Importing Board, Echo Blue Limited, Rush Distributors, Grenada Cooperative Bank, Grenada Paper Products, Hubbard's, Superb Distributors, and Grenada Motor Club.
Let me take a time to say a special good morning to our listeners of Classic Radio, of course, the viewers of GBN TV. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. I'm your host, GT. Saying good morning to those of you also by our social media platforms, whether it's the Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome. Usually on Thursdays, we do host various departments within the RGPF. Of course, you have a little slight person of our representation this morning who's representing on the program. We have the Child Protection Authority. Should I say members of the Child Protection Authority. So we get the names rolling. I was told I have two Miss Alexanders. I'm assuming both ladies in the blue.
Yes.
Miss Alexander. So good morning to both of you.
Good
and we have Miss Gordon. Miss Gordon, good morning to you also.
Good morning.
Well, let me say welcome. Let me see if I can get this mic centralized just a wee bit. I think that's going to be just perfect. Welcome, ladies, and welcome to the point this morning. Is it your first time on the program, I'm assuming?
It is.
Well, welcome. I hope it's suddenly not going to be a last. All right? See you guys visiting more and more. If we could start a conversation, the Child Protection Authority. We would like to come across with the role of the Child Protection Authority. The main role of the Child Protection Authority. Let's get that started off this way to break the ice, as some folks would say. Nobody wants to break the ice?
One of the Alexanders would.
The main role of the Child Protection Authority.
Well, our main role is to work in the best interest of the child, whatever that would mean, whether it is to ensure that the child is receiving proper education, health care, is in a loving and stable and nurturing home.
And I mean, and that's across the board.
Yes.
That's what you do. In the instance of the role, as you said, make sure that they're in a stable environment. When it comes to the option of abuse, let's hear the role of the Child Authority when it comes in cases of abuse.
Okay, so in cases of abuse, whether it be sexual abuse, emotional abuse, neglect is also a form of abuse, neglect and abandonment, physical abuse, we would do an investigation into the matter. So what usually happens is that someone would contact the authority reporting that this child is being abused, whether it's a teacher, neighbor, etc. And we would conduct an investigation. So we have an emergency system in place.
Okay.
Once we get a call, the person who is on emergency call for that specific period will respond. They will conduct the investigation to firstly find out if the allegation is true, and we then do whether we decide if the child is going to be removed from the placement and put into alternative care, which is what we are here to represent today, or if other family members will be able to step in and care for the child in the interim while the investigation is ongoing.
How do I report, or do I report a suspected case of child abuse?
You can contact the emergency line at 533-6990, or you can call our landline at 435-0293, or you can report via Facebook as well. Yeah, you can send us a message via Facebook, or if you know someone that works in the authority, you can reach out to them and they will relay the information to our intake officer.
How does the investigative process usually go through, especially in cases of abuse?
Okay. So I'm not a part of the investigative unit.
But I mean, I guess you would understand the process and that's how it goes through.
Okay, so let's say someone calls to say that this child is being physically abused. So let's say it's a teacher, and the teacher calls to say that the child is being physically abused. Again, the emergency response person will go to the school, observe the bruisings and so forth on the child, document it, speak to the teachers, speak to the child as well, and then make contact with, whether it is the parents or so forth, whoever the allegation is about, to speak with them to find out why does the child have these bruisings on their body. After that, well, as I would have mentioned before, then the determination is made whether or not if the child would remain in the home or be placed with family or in alternative care, which is
and I'm assuming that's where the process, depending on the nature of the abuse, other factors comes to play. Whether it's the police or someone maybe need to be prosecuted or something for those nature, particular nature.
And if I should just add by extension, in terms of reporting cases of abuse, if the person doesn't have access to a telephone or cell phone or what to call, but they can make their way to the police station. I think the police stations are central. They can go report the case of abuse, and by extension too, abuse, the reporting of abuse is mandatory. So whether it's come from the school, persons in the community, the medical stations, police or whatever, once you suspect that a child is being abused, or maybe you might observe cases of abuse, it's your duty-bound responsibility to report.
Also, if I can just add, our offices, you can also report to our offices. So we have an office at Carriacou, we have one at Guave, one at Grenville, one at Calavini, and one at Lucas Streets.
Before an abuse could be reported, there has to be signs of it. I'm assuming there'll be signs, whether it's physical, emotional. Somebody have to detect that there are signs of abuse. Usually, from the Child Protection Authority, from your standpoint, someone detects that someone is abused. What are some of the signs that you will say folks to look forward to? If there's someone who's listening to us this morning and they're saying, I have a tendency to believe that this particular child that is living in my neighborhood has been abused some way or the other, you may not see that the abuse be physical, because abuse comes in different forms. You understand? But you detect that. What are some of the signs that folks maybe to look out for in children per se who are abused?
Maybe I can start and
Sure.
the officers will continue. As we establish, some signs are visible.
Yeah.
Physical. You might see bruises, burns, cuts, and so. In some cases, they are not visible.
Yeah.
Marks and so are not apparent on the skin. But when you look at the child could be withdrawn, not cared for, maybe always in a state of, untidiness or so, left alone, not attending school, always hungry, begging, this aloneness. So there are some things that we have to look out for, besides the marks and the bruises and so on on the skin.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything you want to add? Anything to that?
Some of them may have the suicidal thoughts. So some of them may want to end their life because of what is happening to them at home.
And also, on the flip side of what Mrs. Scotton would have said, the child may start acting out. Rather than being withdrawn, notice the child go from being quiet to getting into confrontations, arguing with the teachers, etc. So that's also a sign to look out for, the complete change in behavior.
How important is the public to play a role in this? The public, per se, in the role of child abuse, in terms of what they may notice? How important it is?
I mean, I think it's of paramount importance because child protection officers can be everywhere.
It's true, because these days the public is saying people have a tendency to say they're not my business.
Yeah,
you understand? Yeah. Or maybe for some reason that youngster, maybe for in how they behave these days, disrespectful and so forth. But sometimes those are the signs that they are being abused. You may find a youngster is acting, as you mentioned, they're acting out just a wee bit, which is a little bit of normal. But some folks may just feel you being rude and fresh and stuff, as they would say in the local conversation. So they decide, hey, I'm going to stay away from this youngster, not report it.
Yeah.
You understand? But so how important is the public to pay attention to these things?
And it's very important, And I can say that over the years, the awareness of, the public was sensitized on the whole aspect of abuse, the different types and forms of abuse. So persons would have been more aware of abuse. And you have persons in the community reporting.
Yes.
They would call any form of, they suspect a child is being abused, they would call. And so I although we wish more could be done from the public, do not conceal, do not hide, especially if it is concerning your family or so, or close friends. But we must say that the public has been calling, informing, and so calling on, to come to investigate.
So you would say in general the feedback has been good from in various communities around the island in terms of the feedback from who have noticed an abuse been taking place.
Although there's still some journeys to take. Yes.
How more you would like to see the public getting involved in this? In what way would you like to see? Yes, some folks like to remain anonymous. I don't want to say it was GT that is the one that is reporting and all of these things. So those folks, that's a bit of a drawback for lots of individuals and communities. But what in ways would you like to see an increase in the reporting of incidents that could certainly help a youngster who's been abused?
And I think one of the ways to the community, persons in the community need to be aware of the types of abuse, because sometimes abuse could be taking place right in your eyes, next door, and because you're not aware of that kind of abuse, you might be, not ready to report, or you might think it's not abuse. So I think when we talk about abuse, we should clearly define what is abuse, the forms of abuse, and how abuse can take place, so that people can become more aware. Although there is an awareness or sensitivity in the community, but I think more needs to be done on the types and forms of abuse, so that people can intrude this child. That's a form of abuse. They can report. So much more can be done. Much more will be done in terms of sensitizing the public. And I think we need to go out more into those pockets, because there are some communities that need to be more aware of abuse, so that we can, they can cooperate and they can report.
Some will say it's a small island of Grenada. We're small, so everybody knows each other. What would you describe as one of the most prevalent type of abuse that the authorities see in Grenada?
I would say both sexual and physical abuse. Yeah.
both sexual and physical abuse. And is there a particular, should I say, how can I put this for you? Is it more on the male or female side in terms of these abuse when it comes to sexual and physical?
For physical, I can't give an exact disaggregation, but for the sexual abuse, I would say that for the years there has been a trend in female, but recently there has been a spike in sexual abuse
on the male.
Yes.
All right. And it's always connected to family. Or is it folks who are out of the family? If you're going to put it in that way. Some folks will say, well, most time you hear sexual abuse is happening within the household. You will hear that. Is it that a report of that nature increasing, or is it outside of the outside of the household?
I don't think it's more so incest, but general sexual abuse. Yeah.
All right.
And I would just want to, just comment a little bit on physical abuse.
Yeah.
Who is it done by male or female? And because most of our household are female-headed.
Okay.
So that answer the question. So most of the physical abuse, not all, being done by women, maybe out of frustration and whatever. Because sometimes the men are not there. So if daddy is not present in the house, daddy cannot beat or abuse or whatever. But we have cases where physical abuse is being done by males as well. But I think it's more prevalent among the females because, we have a lot of female-headed household and so on.
So it's a bit of getting that frustration out of a bit. But then the children should not be the one paying for it, right?
Exactly.
All right. We're due for a first break in the program. Let's take it. We'll be right back, folks. Stay with us. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch it now. Stay with us.
Your home isn't just a place. It's a canvas waiting for a masterpiece. And with every Berger paint, every stroke tells a story. From deep, rich tones to soft, elegant finishes, our premium paints offer exceptional coverage and durability, making your space truly shine. Whether you're giving your walls a fresh new look or adding a personal touch, Berger Paint helps you make every brushstroke count. Don't wait. Visit the color shop in Frequente Industrial Park or any of our distributors island-wide to find the perfect shade for your home today. Berger Paint for lasting beauty and protection.
Sheila, you letting Brandon drink that fizzy drink?
Why not?
All that sugar?
Girl, once it's sparkling Crown Plus from Blue Waters, kids can finally enjoy that fizzy taste they love without all that sugar.
Taste the revolution with the new deliciously refreshing Blue Water Sparkling Crown Plus. Enjoy an apple, grape, and lime. All rich in antioxidants, ginseng, and vitamins A and E. And with 65% less sugar than other fizzy drinks. Finally, no compromise on taste.
Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited advises members and the general public of new operating hours at its branches. The Customer Service Center at Seton Brown Street, Grenville, is open Monday to Thursday 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and on Friday 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The main office on Jubilee Street, Grenville, is open Monday to Thursday 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Fridays 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Lucas Street St. George's branch operates Monday to Thursday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Fridays 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. For the Grand Anse branch, Monday to Thursday 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Fridays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We look forward to serving you. Grenville Cooperative Credit Union, the credit union of Grenville.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. I guess you've been viewing our fair conversation. Yeah, just viewing wireless. All right. Welcome back, ladies, once again from the Child Protection Authority this morning on today's edition of To The Point. We in the first segment, we of course kept the conversation a lot on abuse, but there's always that after assistance that needs to or that role that the Child Protection Authority, of course, focus on a whole lot. That is like a bit of an aftercare. Can I say it in that particular way?
Yeah.
After the abuse has happened, there's another stage or step that it goes to. Speak to me in relation to that. When it happens, after an abuse has taken place, the Child Protection Authority steps in. It's whatever needs to be determined in terms of assistance for that child now. Okay. And we send them back to the home that they were abused at. One, and I think that is already made, depending on the level of the abuse. Maybe after conversation with the parents or whatever, and you decide, well, that may not be a safe place for that child to be, so they're no longer going to be back there. Where does it? What happens after that?
Okay, so I'll speak to the aspect of the foster care program. So we already established if a child is abused, if removal and placement has to take place. Where does a child or where do the children go after? One, they can be placed in foster care. And you might be asking, what is foster care? Foster care is not new to Grenada. It has been old, could I say, an ancient something where somebody takes, you might see a child in the community needs help, and you might just take a child and
it's not always stem from abuse, right? It doesn't always stem
and care for a child and as your own, and the child would grow up with that person, be it nene or parent or just a good Samaritan in the community. That is also known as foster care. But in recent time, foster care was introduced in Grenada. I think it was in 1986 by the UK, I think, some children organization. So the idea was introduced in Grenada to the government. They thought of it and realized that Grenada can benefit with the foster care program, because when you look at what is happening in society, children need a placement. Not that we want to take them away from the parents, but because of prevailing circumstances, they have to be removed. So Grenada, so it was introduced in Grenada, I think it was 1986, and it was UK funded. It was a small secretariat headed by one fostering officer who manned that office with a secretary. And it evolved over the years. Over the years it evolved and it grew bigger and bigger. And it was after that, the organization responsible was NCH, Action for Children. In fact, that name change, but the abbreviation remained anyway. The NCH did not change at all. Action for Children, NCH, National Children's Home, so it remained. And that program grew. The foster care program grew until I think it was in 2015. So it was still funded by UK.
Yes.
But UK allotted Grenada that, hey, we cannot fully fund that program anymore. And by then you had other officers. So not just one person, you had an office, and you had office staff, you had fostering officers going out into the community. In fact, they were based at different locations, parishes and so. And UK said, I cannot fully fund that program anymore, because there are so many countries needing help. Haiti, for example, and other countries, we need to move to the east. So Grenada was allotted, the government was allotted, and the withdrawal of funds and so, or the cutting of funds were kind of incremental, not just drastic.
All right.
But, they would fund parts and so. Eventually, in 2015, UK pulled out, and Grenada had to stand on its own, and that program was directly under the umbrella of social development. And it was handed over to Child Protection Authority, but before it was NCH, Action for Children. Then to Social Development and Child Protection Authority in 2015. So it is where it is today. That program has expanded, I must say. And you have many officers walking along. We have many children in foster care. And you might be asking, just what is foster care?
I am asking.
What is foster care? Foster care is a loose arrangement. There's no legal thing in foster care. So it's children who are being removed from their parents because of one form of abuse or another, neglect, abandonment, death of parents, incarceration of parents, mental illness. So it ranges a host of social problems.
Yes.
Right? So children are being removed. And one, they can be placed in foster care. Two, they can be placed in an institution. I guess the ladies might talk more about those that are being, because you're talking about alternative care.
Yes.
So in foster care, so that's a loose arrangement. So how it is done? Persons who anybody above the age of 21 can foster. When I say anybody, if you're above the age of 21, you can foster, but you have to meet.
I guess there's a vetting process.
Exactly, you have to meet the criteria. So you show your interest, you may call, you might step in the office, you might find out, okay, I want to be a foster carer. And the process begins having some dialogue, some discussion, interviews. You have to apply. And you have to go to, I wouldn't say rigorous, but you have to go to the process, police record, references, medical certificates, and so to show that you're well. Because if you are sick, you cannot take care of children.
So true.
Right. So you have to go through the process. So when that is done, when the process is completed, you are not yet a foster carer. It's been handed over to you have what is called a foster care panel or a foster care committee. So they would look at all the applications and they would look at it and say, yes, I think this person is eligible to be a foster carer. And when that is done, CPA offers some training. Because yes, you might pass with flying colors, all that CPA would ask, you would have presented. But when we have to place the child, and we do what you call matching as much as possible a child with a carer. So for example, if you wouldn't take a baby and place with a very, should I say, an older foster carer, because you need somebody with energy could move around and so.
Exactly.
And although we are not, we don't have so much of different races here, but we try to match as much as possible. So eyebrows would not be raised and say, hey, these black people and they have this white child, or this, it happens at times, but we try to match as close to the family, especially with a view to adopt. And yes, we could talk about adoption as well. So when the child eventually is placed, sometimes the placement can be introduced gradually, maybe a day with the foster carer, maybe a weekend, or so, to get familiar with the carer. And I should go back a little bit. So it's not if the person is married, the husband has to agree to foster.
Okay.
If they are children, some discussion has to be held. So if I am married, I want to be a foster carer, I can just secretly come to CP and sign up and do all the thing, and next thing my husband just see a child up here. Children just say, hey, mommy, where this child? Who is this child and what? So they have to agree. Some dialogue, some discussion, agreement on the family part.
Is there, not continue, but is there a minimum or a maximum in terms of the individual wanting to foster care, a minimum or maximum amount?
Yes, so we look at the human capacity. We look at your capacity. And because you're foster carers with 2-3 children, it all depends on the person. Yes, it all depends.
It depends on your physical ability also.
Yes.
Your financial ability also plays a role in that, because you did say, it's that individual will have to take up the mantle of funding that child on their own and so forth. Is there assistance offered in that way to that individual?
Yes, assistance is by stipend is given to the foster carer.
Okay.
So you're left alone. And I just go back a little bit in terms of the foster care. And we want to make a clarion call for persons to be foster care. There is a need for a need. So persons 21 and over, and we want you to see yourself contributing to the foster care program. And it's not about just opening up your homes, and you might have a spare room or 2 spare rooms, and you can take in children. First, we want you to open up your hearts, because if there isn't love there or a willingness to help, to assist a child, it doesn't make sense. So you could have all the space, all the food, and all what you could offer, and you don't have that love. The child would not feel that sense of belonging and acceptance in that home. So we first need persons to think seriously about it. What can I offer? And it's not about what you can give. Yes, we want you to give love, nurturing, caring, but it helps the person as well.
How challenging is it for the authority in terms of getting foster parents? How challenging is it, especially in the community?
Very challenging.
Yes, it could be challenging. But I want viewers, I want you to see it, and listeners, I want you to see it as a very rewarding experience. Had it not been for foster carers, I don't know what would have happened to some of our nation's children who are now policemen, nurses, teachers, and so foster care.
Yeah.
So it has its challenges, especially, children, adolescents. Once you hit adolescence, all these changes taking place. Who am I? Am I a child? Am I an adult? One day you feel like a child, one day you feel like an adult. You want to do big people things, and next day you're like a child crying as a baby. So you have to That is why it's so important that foster carers be trained to know what they are dealing with, the stages of development, adolescent, knowing what toddlers need, and so that when they show in a place, I mean, sometimes the situation is not ideal.
Yeah.
There's, always room for improvement, but it has its rewards. I must say that. At the end of the day, you would have helped a child, and that child would have helped you to develop more patience, maybe more tact, maybe no tolerance, as more love you, and then where this love come from, Lord, I'm wondering if I could take care of another child, a child that is not mine by blood, Yeah. So it gives you an opportunity to examine yourself, to explore, and so.
Interesting.
Can
Anything you want to add to that?
Yes, please. For the foster carers, if you are interested in becoming a foster carer, what you should know is, apart from the training, you do receive a stipend, and if the child is under 3, you would receive supplies like diapers, wipes, milk, cereal, just to aid in supporting the child. We do have programs in place, like parenting programs for you, and something that was recently introduced is a foster care officer. So that person will be responsible for checking in with the foster carers, because it's not only that you're caring for the child, but we need to know how you are doing as a person as well.
Yeah, because sometimes taking care of children could be stressful.
Yeah.
I mean, you may have an open mind and accepting that child, but then when they go through the process of time,
yes,
and the attitude to changes some way or the other, it becomes a problem. So it's good that the CBA is offering that assistance,
yes,
to come and consult with you from time to time to see how you're coping and so forth. Now, alternative care is something that as you mentioned, is needed a lot in this country, especially with children abuse. What other alternative care is offered from the CPA besides other than foster care? I'm assuming it goes to adoption after, because that's, I guess, a one process. Someone may like that child so much as a foster parent, and then they decide, I want to adopt them to make it seem to be like a son or daughter to me. How does another process goes through?
Okay, go ahead.
So before going into adoption, we also have the kinship care. So the kinship care is where a family member is responsible for caring for that child.
Okay.
So the family member, they go through the same process. They are assessed, and once all goes well, then the child is placed with them.
Okay.
And then we have adoption.
So you go through the same. So from foster, you go to kinship care.
No. We have different types.
Different types.
Yeah. So we have the foster.
Well, explain it to me.
We have the kinship. Kinship is family care.
Family care.
Yeah. So a family member is responsible for caring for the child.
Okay.
Then we have the residential care.
All right.
And that's basically the home. Everybody knows it as the home.
As the home. That's where folks go to the children homes, as we would say locally.
The children homes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And I should add to that, with the foster care program, you have different types of foster carers.
Right.
So that's the critical. So you have the emergency carers. So these people are always on the alert. Where if an emergency arises, the child has to be removed, we need an emergency placement. So foster care can offer to be emergency care.
And I guess that for a temporary period of time.
Yes.
Right.
And then you have the short-term foster carers as well. The child is there maybe for a couple of months or so. Yes. You have foster carers fostering with a view to adopt.
Okay.
Because when you do the assessment, all the background information, your background checks about the child, and before a child could be adopted, all T's must be crossed, all I's must be dotted. So you have to go maybe over hills and dales and find out if they're an uncle and aunt here or there, because you don't want to start the adoption process and then an aunt from nowhere come out and say, hey, that's my niece or my nephew, that I'm getting my lawyer for you, that child cannot be adopted. So you have to make sure that you do due diligence, make sure that a family, you consult as much as possible, both maternal and paternal side, to make sure that there isn't anybody that can take care of the child. And then when that is cleared, then you can see that child will be placed on the adoption list, right? So and you also have long-term foster carers. We don't know how long, because in as much as you say fostering should be maybe up to a year, the ideal thing is about a year and a half, children should remain in foster care.
Okay.
But sometimes, depending on the situation, let us imagine that a child is being removed because of neglect, abandonment by the mother. or poor housing, children getting wet, nowhere to sleep, and so the child is being removed under those conditions and placed in care. Someone has to walk along with the parents or the family. If that is not done, what you'll have a vicious cycle, and especially if the mother is young and fertile, so you might have CPA and have to go in every year and remove a child. So when that first removal is done, there has to be some discussion with the parents, and CPA alone cannot do that. So we have what we bring stakeholders on board, maybe persons from the Ministry of Health, Housing Authority. It all depends on the needs, the needs identified. So that is what you call it. And we have also review. When a child is in care, we do review the case with all the background information and so. And so stakeholders would, we hope, and we're praying for more cooperation, that they would take on their responsibility. So if it's housing issue, they would help. Mental issue, Ministry of Health would help, whatever, so that we work together, so that at the end, the child can be reunited with the family.
Okay.
But what happens sometimes while in care, sometimes the problems that cause the child to be in care, while the child is in care, that initial problem could be solved, but other problems could arise. Because that mother get the house with nice bathroom, so housing is not an issue. But when CPA is ready to place or say, okay, the housing is okay, well, I think you can have your child, then we hear the mother is an alcoholic. Yeah. Or she has a boyfriend who is an severe domestic violence. So the child further would have to remain in care. And sometimes these things been prolonged. And two, we have no interest of parents, Yeah. Some parents are not. Once CPA remove, although I'm sure you would hear them on the radio, CPA take my child and I don't know where the child is. You would hear it, and I don't know why they take the child. They went in the school, and so it could be very far from the truth. And children are in care, I know. And parents show no interest. Officers trying to reach out. You have what is called a contact visit, where parents or family members would come while the child is in care with foster care or in an institution. So they're given the opportunity to visit, to see your child. All they have to do is to request, okay, can I see my child next week or next month? The officer will look at his or her schedule and, confirm or so. Sometimes officers get the child from the foster care or home and waiting for that contact visit, and parents, they do not show up or they do not call. No interest at all. So you have children in care, no interest by parents. What do you do? So besides the foster care and the institutions, maybe CPA have to move in direction of independent living. Okay. Because CPA is responsible for children 0 to 18. When the child or that person, not a child again, 18 plus, young adult, reach that age of adulthood, what happens? So what really happens to the individual after going through the process of foster care, and you said they get to that age of 18, when now it's deemed to become an adult? Where does the process, that's when it just ends on an individual with the Child Protection Authority, or more assistance is offered to them? If the officers can answer, if the child is going to school, yes, let's say you're going to National College or Neolo or whatever, and you attain the age of 18, CPA just don't drop you there. Okay. They make sure that you finish your education and so. But we're CPA responsible for children and not adults. Okay. So 18, you're a young adult. So what is happening now with the review? And the review is basically meeting with family members, stakeholders, interested persons in the child's life. And we have periodic review meetings which would prepare us as to what would happen. Not just the now, but the then, what would happen to the child. So we have to start as early as soon as the child is placed in care, they need to be reviewed. We have to review that case. We do not want the child to remain in care for so long But who's going to take on the responsibility? What is going to happen? Is the child going to be adopted? The child going to be in foster care for a short time? What is the commitment of the parents? Parents, are you going to cooperate? Are you going to accept the parenting classes and the counseling that CPA is offering? So once those entities and stakeholders cooperate, the child can return. Okay. Sometimes they cannot. And as you say, once the age of 18, they would have to. I don't think CPA wouldn't just push you out and say you have to leave, you have to go. But there would be some further discussion with family members or so, to see what could happen.
I'm assuming some form of accommodation would be needed for individuals who have gotten to that age.
Yes, and CPA try to organize like jobs. When I say, sometimes you find young persons getting like jobs.
Yeah. All right. We drew for a break. Let's take it. We come back. We continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the Point Classic Radio GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it down.
From the farm to the store to your home. Supporting farmers, catering for your needs. The Food Fair Supermarket provides fresh fruits and vegetables from its 2 convenient locations for over 5 decades. The Food Fair Supermarkets, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Hi, I'm Roseanne from Team Flow, together with GBN as we celebrate our nation's 52nd independence with what we love the most, Oil Down Festival. Flow is more than proud to be a sponsor for the 2nd year, and we encourage each and every one of you to come together and be connected at Pearl's Airstrip January 31st over some good oil down. Come taste all of the different specialities and be a part of celebrating our nation.
GBN's Oil Long Fest is proudly sponsored by Glen Spring Water, Grenville Credit Union, the Marketing and National Importing Board, Echo Blue Limited, Rush Distributors, Grenada Cooperative Bank, Grenada Paper Products, Hubbard's, Superb Distributors, and Grenada Motor Club.
Yo, Grenada, are you ready for the biggest vibe this January? On Saturday, January 24th at 3 p.m., Morne Rouge Playing Field is turning up as the National Celebrations Committee hosts the Independence Youth Expo. Come through and check out fresh local brands, cool art, nutritious drinks, snacks, and confectionaries. It's all about our young creators showing out. Catch dope performances from Spiceland dancers, Destiny on Steel Band, Zeal, Nate, Lil Cello, and Young Cody from Carapoo. Also at the event will be DJ Snappy, Select.
Welcome back once again to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers once again. We have folks representing the Child Protection Authority, and of course we spoke in the introduction of the program. We talk about child abuse. We spoke in our last segment extensively. We spoke a lot about foster care, but we want to broaden the concept of foster care just a wee bit. And off here we were having a conversation that it was always the kinship part of it is also very important in terms of maintaining the family aspect as close as possible. Because sometimes we know the abuse, and for some reason the child has to be taken away from the member of the family. Maybe it's the mother or the father of the child. But you asking a whole lot of focus only put into the kinship. Maybe explain that just a wee bit, why that is also seeming very important.
Okay, so when there's an allegation that a child is abused and we have to do a removal, our first preference is always kinship. We want the child to stay around. Family, of course, identity is very important, and you want to encourage that familial bond. So family, but what we usually have is that family don't step up to the plate to care for their loved ones. So there's an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a brother or sister, or a grandmother, whoever it is, we are encouraging you to come forward. When we do make that call, because a part of the investigation is to find out everything. Who relatives you have alive, who else is in the community, somewhere far or so forth. We do that investigation and then we make contact with the relatives. But what we usually get is that persons are not willing to do that additional care for the persons. And even when a child is placed into foster care, we don't have that level of family contacting the child in placement, so they have some form of loss of identity. So we're calling on family members to assist us in providing care for the children or the child that may be abused or neglected. So for foster carers as well.
So we're also making a call for foster carers. We need foster carers. There are children in the system that needs a loving home, that needs a family. So we're calling on foster carers. There's an application form to be filled out, but you can call us 435-0293, and it can be emailed to you, or you can come into the office to collect the form and fill it out, and then the process will begin from there. So we're making a call for foster carers.
So if someone is listening to this program this morning and they do have a keen interest in becoming a foster person, it's a simple process that you go through. You come in or you call, and the relevant application has been made. Usually how long does it take for someone to become? I guess, as you said, there's a vetted process that they have to go through. But usually how long does that take? Can know that child who's been abused or needs to go to a foster parent is in waiting, per se. You understand? How long usually that would take? Approximately.
We usually have foster carers on call, so the child is not necessarily waiting on that specific foster carer who would have made the request. So what we usually do is what we're doing today, we're calling on persons to apply, so that when we do have a child that is in need of a home, as far as the length of time, we cannot give a definite answer, because again, it's an investigative process and you may find out something that needs further looking into and so forth. You need to contact your references.
People and all that.
Right. And then again, we have to get the police record and so forth. So it takes some time, and the medical reports.
All right, understandably so. Understand. We have approximately 10 more minutes left on today's program. Of course, to our listeners and viewers, if you do have a question or two you may like to ask, of course, the panel this morning, feel free to do so. 435-2041, 435-2041. You have double options of calling in. You have the WhatsApp and the direct line. We do have our first caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning and welcome.
A person, good morning. I've been listening to this program from the very beginning, and I've not heard anything about voluntary foster care. And by voluntary, I mean, the mother is in a situation where can't get work, etc. The father gone to Timbuktu, and there is a neighbor who decides, all right, I would approach the mother. We agree that, all right, they'll take the child, bring it up as their own, etc., but the mother still have that access to the child, etc. Could there be something like that? Because I've been hearing, all right, you have to go to this group and that group and the other group. Couldn't persons get together? And I'm talking about today's world. They agree, all right, I'm not in a position to upkeep this child. And like I said before, father gone in Timbuktu, you know where he is. And people decide outside of the organization, all right, allow this person on the other side to take care of the child, bring it up, send it to school, etc., etc. Could there be something like that? I would like to hear what any one of you in that group would say. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Respond to the caller?
Caller, thanks for your feedback. I don't know if you were tuned on to the program from the beginning, but in my introduction I said that the foster care program has a history. Stem back way back when persons were taking care of persons' children. With the time, Child Protection Authority was nowhere in existence, and we would welcome such, and that has been going on. Persons been taking care of persons' children, neighbors looking out for children, taking care of children, sending children to school and buying books and uniforms. So that is happening outside of CPA. However, if Child Protection Authority has to be involved, there has to be some vetting, because we don't want a child coming out from a situation to end up in another situation. We want to make sure that that home is safe. I am not saying that voluntary arrangement can be made, but we want to make sure that when the child is there, the child is safe from harm.
Okay.
Thank you.
We do have another caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, caller. I guess we come back on your point. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, GT, and good morning to the host.
Good morning to you.
From the Child Protective Authority. It's always a pleasure to have such good programs like this on a morning. A question that I have to ask is, what is the position with the Child Protective Authority as it relates to persons in some of the rural areas who may be doing babysitting, such like those things like what those daycare centers should be doing, areas that are registered and inspected by you guys and other parts of the ministry for carrying out such services. Reasons why it's important for me to know, because in the rural areas, there is a lot of, in my view, illegal babysitting going on during the courses of the day, and I want to know who's responsible for ensuring that these people, they are monetized and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they have the education to be conducting such work, because they're collecting a salary, they're getting paid for doing it. So I would like to know what is the Child Protective Services view on this, and where is the right place, or which body is responsible for ensuring that this is regulated properly in terms of checking in with the people that does this type of work and ensuring that they're knowledgeable of what they do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Respond to the caller.
Okay, so currently there is a department within the Ministry of Social Development that is responsible for the daycare centers across Grenada. So they would do the checking in and so forth to see if it's, well, there's supposed to be a number of children per worker in a daycare center. So they would be the ones ensuring that the daycare centers are following the rules and so forth. If you do have a concern, you can reach out to the Ministry of Social Development and ask to be transferred to that specific department.
Okay, but I think he was more focusing on the illegal daycare centers, per se. When I say illegal, somebody have his home and they say, I'm going to leave my children with that individual. He may not be a registered service, per se. I think that's where he was more focused on a wee bit.
So still be the same channel to reach out to the Ministry of Social Development and report it to let them know that.
And so not everybody is qualified to perform those duties the way should. You could be able to take care of a child, but not in the manner in which they do
and
it.
the number of children.
Exactly. We do have another caller. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning to you, GT, and to your guests and your listeners. I would like to ask if the Child Protection Authority is on board with the discussion on cannabis. I'm asking that because the Rastafarian groups are allowed to have it in the temples and so, but children will be there. So I'm wondering if they are on board with that, and so they will pay attention to what is happening in the temple of the Rastafarian when it comes to children and also in the homes.
Thank you. Any response to the caller?
Okay. If the Child Protection Authority as a body have not had discussion regarding the cannabis, the law, the policy that is going to be passed, if we were to answer, it will be individual answers and not representation of the Child Protection Authority. Okay. So I think we should not respond for the authority.
All right.
Yeah, so maybe that can be a question that we can bring back to the authority and an official Facebook post, or maybe another program like this can happen so that we can have this discussion.
All right. I think that's appropriate. We do have another caller. I guess we lost the caller, but we do have another caller via WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Panel, GT, good morning. Yeah, okay, I have a question concerning the foster care. Like, for example, okay, I live in the United States, and then a lot of children that goes to foster care are children who their parents been on substances, drugs and stuff and things like that. And
Thank you. Thank you, caller. Thank you. Respond to the caller if anyone can. Go ahead. Respond to the caller, Kenny. Is it a situation that we have in Grenada? Is that a particular situation we do have here, as he mentioned?
His question, I'm trying to process the question properly.
I think he was more going across the notion that some people use foster care as a business, per se. You take a couple of trips because money has been offered to you to take care of that child. You did mention here earlier that there are processes that people who do foster parenting here do get a little stipend depending on the age range of that particular child. If they're at an infant stage, you need money for or you need supplies, per se. You do, the authority do offer that. I think he's offering that, asking a question in that along that lines.
I personally can't recall of a time when that would have happened, but I'm guessing if it would have happened in the past, the authority would have addressed it, because as Mrs. Gordon would have mentioned, we do reviews and so forth, so we do hear from the children, we do hear from everyone involved in the child's life, so we would know if it is happening, and we would make corrective measures.
All right.
I just want to add, just flipping back, some years ago, there was a child, I cannot think of more than one at the moment, that had some, I just want to get the correct word, help me ladies, because the mother was an alcoholic. That child was born, he had there was some fetal
syndrome.
Yes, and that child when that child was born, that baby had the face of an adult. When I say that, an old person, and that child had to be taken to the child was hospitalized for some time, and walked along with, in order for the child to live a normal life. So the child was being affected by the alcohol that the mother was an alcoholic.
Okay.
But I cannot think of any other, like children were affected by drugs and, other substances. I cannot recall. Okay. It is possible. I don't know, but we cannot recall any.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Jay, and good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
Well, I have no problem with a child being removed from the home the parents is abusing them or abusing themselves. I have no problem with that. I think children are innocent, and we have to do our utmost best to protect them and have them grow up in the right way. But first I want to ask the Child Protection Services that, is there an independent body when that child go into the foster care, going and check on that child, or even in the foster home, even in the home for the kids? Anybody going in there to make sure that child is not being abused by the workers there? As a child, you can take a child from a house, and then when a child goes into that area, he's being abused. And I want to make a suggestion. I believe that we need to put some ads on the radio or on the TV advertising that we have kids that people can take and grow them up in the right way, because there's a lot of people that are living by themselves and they are lonely, and I think they would need somebody to at least give some joy in their life. So just say it on the radio like that. I don't think much people might hear that. So you need to run an ad on GBN, maybe with your budget. Put it in an ad there so people can see and go there and get a child and make their life happy, because children do make you happy. Have a nice day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, and appreciate your presence if you have quote your contribution. You want to respond to that? You think the CPA plan on doing that? Probably put the ad on GBN telling folks who are interested in foster care. You never know, you probably could work to get some more, as you mentioned.
Foster care.
We have a goal of doing a foster care drive island-wide, which is basically sensitizing the public as to what we have available and how they can be a part of it.
Okay.
So maybe that's a suggestion that we can include. So thank you so much, caller.
All right.
And also, the caller wants to find out what happens to a child or children who are placed in care. Each child has a caseworker.
Okay.
So when the child is placed in care, in foster care, or whether in institution, this child is being the child or the children are being monitored by the caseworker. Visits are made to the schools, visits are made to the foster carer. If needs be, the doctor if the child has to undergo medical checks, and so it's not up to the foster carer. We place the child and we forget. No, but CPA visits, assess, we do periodic review, how the child is doing in care, what is happening, so we have discussion with the school and so forth.
Okay, we do have another caller, which will be our final caller for the morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm thankful for this opportunity. I tried several times. I just want to compliment you on this program and to commend the three ladies there from the authority. I know their work cannot be easy, and there's always more that can be done, but I just want to say I'm proud that in the past I have assisted when Mrs. Ann John was working with this situation. I think it was NCH, it was called at the time. I worked with her with children who needed urgent shelter. And so it was short term. And then I have had one for long term for many, many happy years. And I am proud to have done that. So I want to join my plea to the lady who heads this delegation and to say persons should open their hearts and open their home to children who need that, because there are children in our country who are undergoing serious problems, domestic problems, and very toxic situations where they need to be taken out of that. So Grenadians who can open their doors and their hearts, please check with the authority and see what can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Of course, that was our final caller for the morning. Anything in closing from you ladies before we take a wrap for today?
My closing comments would be a clarion call. I want to echo the sentiment of Miss Alexander and the final caller. We're just calling on persons to come forward. And if you cannot physically foster a child, you can contribute. You can call the authority and say, hey, I cannot really physically take care of a child at my home, but I want to sponsor, I want to give some assistance to a child. You can do that. But we're asking, please, Grenadians, let us be this loving, caring people that we claim to be, and let us reach out. And I always say that a parent is not a parent only to their children, biological children. You are indeed a patriarch and a true parent when you are a parent of other children that you did not give birth to. So we are the authority. We are waiting. I hope that the lines are buzzing at the office right now, calling, and so we want to give you the numbers again. You can give them the numbers.
All right.
So it's 435-0293. That's the landline, and the emergency line
533-6990.
All right. Thank you, ladies, once again. I hope that, of course, the next time we come, we can expand on the program a whole lot more.
Yes.
Because, we brush this up. We didn't even put a lot of attention into the adoption process and so forth. We probably on another occasion have that, we're able to do that. Yes. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having us.
And you're certainly welcome. Hey, folks, that's what we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Join me again for another. That's what we say goodbye.